I didn't think I could be scared by anything as simple as slippers. But that's exactly what happened the first week I arrived in the Philippines. I had just stepped off a plane, half jet-lagged, hair still smelling like the recycled airplane air, and adrenaline pushing through my veins. I finally made it. I was in the Philippines. After months of chatting with Filipino friends online, watching vlogs of hidden beaches and jeepneys, and hearing about adobo and karaoke, I finally booked a flight. And in my head, everything would make sense the moment I landed, but it didn't. Not right away, at least. On day 1, I was invited to stay in the home of my friend Nina, a Filipina balikbayan who had returned from Dubai to reunite with her family. I thought she was just being generous. Only later did I realize it was part of bayanihan, a Filipino custom of helping others in times of need. But before I understood the meaning, I experienced the shock. It all began with one single innocent instruction. Diyan ka lang muna, ha? Tanggalin mo muna yung shoes. And I froze, because she said it so fast, with that typical Filipino smiling tone, even when they're saying something serious, that I wasn't sure if she was warning me, threatening me, or just being friendly. I looked down. I was already stepping inside the house, with my shoes on. Big mistake. My Ukrainian brain was not prepared. In Ukraine, we do remove shoes, but the rule isn't as strict, especially if you're just visiting for lunch. Here in the Philippines, I soon learned the house is sacred. You don't bring the dirt of the streets inside. So yeah, first lesson, Filipinos don't just prefer clean floors. They will protect them with their soul. So there I was, very slowly taking off my sneakers while 3 pairs of Filipino eyes politely watched me and silently prayed that I didn't step on the tiles with my socks still touching the dirty shoe. Floor. I panicked and apologized. Nina laughed. Ay, okay lang. You'll get used to it. But I didn't know then that this was just the beginning. The slippers. Oh, the slippers were next. The next morning, I woke up in the small guest room. The sun was shining through a bamboo window shade. I was refreshed, curious, and ready to explore the neighborhood. I opened the door and walked barefoot into the living room, which was apparently another big mistake. 3 gasps hit me like tsunamis at the same time. Jasmine, don't walk barefoot. Where are your tsanelas? Teka, I get you. Wait, huh? Suddenly, a pair of neon green plastic slippers appeared in front of me. From where? A drawer? A portal? Who knows? They materialized like magic. Everyone in the house stared at me. I stared back like a confused tourist who had just seen a unicorn. Thank you, I said, slowly holding up the slippers. For inside the house, said Nina's mother, smiling like she was handing me a weapon to defend myself in a battle. I was terrified, not of the slippers, but of getting something wrong again. So I put them on. I thought, okay, slippers inside the house. That's clear. But then I went outside with the same slippers, and someone snatched them off my feet. No, those slippers are for inside. You use the darker ones for outside. Inside slippers, outside slippers, and sometimes even guest slippers. My head was spinning like a washing machine. In Ukraine, we also have indoor slippers. But here it was like a religion. If I took the wrong pair out into the street, I earned the saddest little gasp from Filipino lolas. I didn't want to break slipper rules ever again. But guess what scared me even more? The bathroom. I'm not kidding. The bathroom in a Filipino house felt less like a place to get clean, and more like an escape room where you're supposed to solve a puzzle just to survive. To start, there was no shower head on the wall, no curtain, no soap caddy, just a big blue plastic bucket, a smaller scoop called Tabo, and a faucet that looked like it had retired in 1998. I stared at it all like it was the finale of a sci-fi movie. What do I do with this? I thought to myself, staring into the bucket like it was staring back at me. Then, I heard a high-pitched whoosh and a scream from across the hallway. Jazz! The water might run out, so fill the bucket first. Water might run out? Did someone just say water runs out? I turned off the faucet and just listened. Silence. I filled the bucket anyway because suddenly, every drop felt sacred. Then came the Tabo experience. In Ukraine, bathing meant hot water cascading over you in a glorious shower. Here, it was scoop, splash, freeze, repeat, and don't forget to aim, or the water goes everywhere except your body. It took me 15 minutes just to wash my hair. But the weirdest part wasn't the shower. It was the toilet. There was no toilet paper. I checked under the sink. No rolls. I peeked behind a soap container. Nothing. Opened the little cabinet. Nothing. But more plastic buckets and cleaning products. Oh no, it all started to make sense. The Tabo wasn't just for bathing. It was for flushing and cleaning. Everything. Soul left my body. Where's the tissue? I finally asked, embarrassed and desperate. It's expensive here, said Nina, shrugging like this was the most normal thing. Just use water and Tabo. It's clean. Clean? Yes. Familiar? No. Terrifying? Absolutely. But that first week, through the shoes off rules, the slippers drama, the Tabo confusion, and the no toilet paper crisis, one thing was always clear. Every Filipino laughed with me, not at me. No one made me feel stupid. They just patiently taught me everything, always in that smiling, comforting tone that only Filipinos seem to have mastered. Those habits scared me at first. But slowly, I started asking for slippers without being told. I learned how to Tabo like a pro, and I even preferred water over toilet paper. Who was I? What I didn't know then was that the more I learned, the more I would understand not just the habits, but the heart behind them. By the time I survived my first week in the Philippines, I thought I had overcome the most shocking things. That endless slipper ritual, the bathroom mystery, the bucket and Tabo, the trauma of accidentally using the outside slippers inside. But I was wrong. There was so much more. Because Filipinos have a habit, a powerful one, that I didn't see coming. They never let you eat alone. Nothing in this world prepared me for the moment I took a simple bite of leftover pandesal, just minding my own business, when suddenly 3 people materialized out of nowhere and yelled, "Kaina!" I froze. First, because one of them was holding a spoon so close to my face it felt like a threat. Second, because I had already eaten, and it was just a small bread. Okay, fine. It was the last bread. And they were looking at me like I'd committed a sin. "Why didn't you call us?" one auntie asked, her eyebrows raised like I was being interrogated by the Federation of Filipino Eaters. I blinked. I was just hungry. Small snack lang. Huh? Snack? That's not snack. You should eat rice. Eat rice first. That was the day I learned something crucial about Filipino meals. Rice is mandatory. And eating rice is not just a physical thing. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's part of the national pride. You can eat pasta, bread, burger, mangoes, cake, chocolate, a goat if you want. But without rice? That's just merienda. I also learned that food in the Philippines was always plural. Never a meal, but meals. Because someone's always cooking, someone's always eating, and someone's always saying "kain na," even if you already ate. I remembered one afternoon when I tried, escaping quietly into my room with a bowl of instant noodles. Just because I wanted silence, peace, me time. I didn't make it. A single slurp from my noodles echoed through the slightly open door, and suddenly there were 3 knocks, then one dramatic slow opening, then someone saying, "What are you eating?" You didn't call us. It was like a scene from a horror movie, but with love and rice. The truth was simple. If a Filipino sees you eating, you're automatically considered sad if you're doing it alone. So now, if I open a bag of chips in public, instant party. I love that about Filipinos. One night I learned another thing nobody warned me about. Karaoke is sacred. Before I came here, I knew Filipinos love singing. I'd heard the legends, I saw YouTube videos. I even knew about that Filipino kid who sang Whitney Houston at age 4 and sounded like a full-grown diva with a broken heart. But I didn't realize how serious karaoke was until I experienced it. Firsthand, it was a random Tuesday. Just an ordinary, quiet night, or so I thought. At 8:04 p.m., someone casually said, "Uy, karaoke tayo." "Konting kanta lang, just a little singing," they said. "Just a few songs," they said. But 9 hours later, at exactly 5:13 in the morning, I was still sitting on the floor, eyes red, holding a plate of leftover lumpia like it was a comfort blanket. while someone sang My Way for the fourth time with more emotion than a telenovela actor in the rain. I experienced karaoke the Filipino way, not in a bar, not in a club, but in a living room, with slippers on the floor, kids asleep on couches, someone pouring iced tea like it was tequila, and that one cousin who was treating karaoke like a professional concert. What I loved most, nobody sang perfectly, but everyone sang like they owned the song. And even when I didn't know the lyrics, someone handed me the mic and said, "Just sing. We cheer for effort." Nobody here was afraid of being embarrassed. Filipinos didn't see karaoke as performance art. Karaoke was love language. If someone invited you to sing, they weren't inviting you to be good. They were inviting you to belong, but then there were moments I wasn't ready for, like when I saw how Filipino parents knock before entering your room, but also walk in at the same time. "Oh, just checking lang ha, kumain ka na," I'd hear as the door opened before my answer. At first I was shocked. Does privacy not exist here? I thought. But later I saw the pattern. The knock wasn't a boundary, it was courtesy. The entering wasn't invasion, it was affection. Filipinos weren't trying to control your space. They were trying to make sure you were alive, fed, and emotionally okay. Filipino love was expressed differently. Less cold, more hands-on. Less, "Do you need anything?" And more, "I already cooked this for you." Less, "How are you?" And more, "Did you eat?" Less, "I love you," and more, "Ingat ka, huh? Take care, okay?" Slowly. It all began to make sense. Why no one eats alone, why rice is always ready, why slippers have a system more complicated than airport security, why families knock but walk in anyway, why karaoke is sung until roosters wake up. I saw it in little moments. Every time someone cooked extra food just in case. Every time someone called out "Kain tayo," not because they were hungry, but because they saw you were alone. Every time someone offered slippers, a blanket, an umbrella, or a side dish. Even if they barely knew you, Filipinos didn't just do things. They made sure you were part of it. Every habit looked strange from the outside, but from the inside, it was all about connection. They don't want you to feel left out, ever. And as a Ukrainian far from home, that mattered more than I expected. But the most emotional shift happened the day I noticed something else Filipinos do. They always give the good part of the food to the guest. The big chicken leg, the last shrimp, the best part of the bangus. Even if they secretly want it themselves. Even if they've waited all day for it. "Para sa'yo yan," they say, smiling like it's no big deal. But it is. That was when I realized Filipinos don't just share food, they share love without needing to say it. I never thought it would happen, but I think I might be turning into a Filipino. At least that's what it felt like the morning I woke up, walked barefoot to the kitchen, picked up the Tabo from the sink, and used it to wash off some spilled coffee like it was the most normal thing in the world. 3 months ago, I barely knew what the word Tabo meant. Now, I was using it like a magic wand. But that wasn't even the moment I knew something had changed. It happened the night before, during a brownout. It was around 9 p.m. I was in the middle of scrolling my phone when, bam, total darkness. "Brownout!" Someone yelled casually from outside, as if announcing that the sky was blue. Within seconds, my entire neighborhood came alive. Mobile flashlights lit up. The neighbors brought chairs outside like it was an evening social. Kids were running around barefoot. One man even pulled out a guitar. Meanwhile, there I was, frozen, holding a power bank, thinking the world was ending. One of my neighbors spotted me from across the street. "8, come sit with us. Don't be shy." And there it was, the Filipino magic again. The kind that turns an inconvenience into a community moment. A shared pause, a slow exhale. Even in the dark, there was light, just not from electricity. I sat down on a plastic chair handed to me by Tita Linda, who always smelled like fried galunggong and lavender lotion. The moment I sat, She placed a plate of pancit on my lap. Eat before the ants do. I laughed. I didn't even know ants were a threat right now. But okay. As the night quietly simmered, I took in the scene. Neighbors laughing like long lost. Cousins. Babies being passed around like basketballs. Someone setting up a battery-powered karaoke machine. And I realized something. Filipinos don't wait for perfect conditions to celebrate. They create joy, even in the dark, literally and emotionally. The next morning, I was invited to lunch. Not just by anyone, but by the nanay of the entire street, the queen of adobo, the living legend, Lola Remy. They said she wanted to teach me how to eat like a Filipino. I didn't know what that meant. I thought I already was eating like one. Rice 3 times a day, snacks in between, and everything eaten with hands if I felt adventurous. But I was wrong. Turns out, eating like a Filipino meant something deeper, something almost spiritual. I showed up wearing shoes. They all laughed. Uy, hindi na sanay magchinelas. She's not used to wearing slippers anymore. And they were right. The slippers were waiting for me by the door, my designated pair apparently. Bright pink with a sticker of a smiling banana. We sat in a circle on the floor. A giant banana leaf covered the center. And on top, food. So much food. Not food, like an organized European meal, but food like someone emptied the fridge into their heart and said, "Here, taste who we are. Adobo, sinigang, lumpia, fried bangus, garlic rice, suman, leche flan, a buffet of identity." And for the first time ever, I ate with my hands, without feeling awkward. No fork, no spoon, no rules. Just rice, fingers, flavor, and joy. "Masarap ba?" someone asked me. "Masarap sobra," I said, smiling. It wasn't just the food that made it delicious. It was the chaos, the casualness, the closeness, the fact that everyone talked over each other, laughed loudly, passed food without asking. It felt like home, even though it wasn't mine. Not originally anyway. After lunch, someone invited me to take a nap. A nap? Like, right now? On the floor? I asked. Yes. Why not? They said. And before I could say no, someone handed me a pillow the size of a watermelon, a thin blanket that smelled like sunlight, and pointed me to a spot near the electric fan. I laid down, and I slept. On the floor, in the middle of the living room, with Lola Remy snoring gently beside me, and someone's kid drooling near my knee. And I woke up happier than I had in years. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't quiet. It wasn't private. But it was safe. It was tender. It was Filipino. The kind of love that didn't need permission. It just included you. I used to think Filipino habits were just quirky. Now I understood something bigger. They're not quirks. They're cultural armor. They're the reason Filipinos survive typhoons. Why brownouts don't break spirits. Why heartbreaks are met with karaoke. Every habit, every ritual, from the Tabo to the slippers to the weird bathroom bucket, has a reason, a rhythm, a heart. I came here thinking I was the visitor, some foreigner observing a strange new land. But over time I realized I wasn't just observing. I was changing, becoming softer, kinder, less embarrassed, more grateful, more human. Because that's the secret of the Filipino way. It makes you feel alive in the simplest and most unexpected moments. One night, as I was brushing my teeth outside with my Filipino neighbor holding a flashlight for me, she asked, "So, do you still think we're weird?" I spat. I laughed. I shook my head. "No," I said. "Not weird. Wonderful." She grinned, showing me her teeth, half toothpaste, half joy. Welcome to the Philippines, 8. And in that moment, I finally knew. I wasn't just visiting anymore. I was becoming part of something beautiful. Beautiful and beautifully messy. Just like life. Just like family. Just like home.